Hey, Falcons fans, things aren't going so well for our team, and we all know that. But there are some rumors floating around, and we need to keep an eye on what might happen next. So let's break it down. And don't forget to hit that like button to stay updated with all the latest news. Now, let's talk about the Falcons and their potential big move in the upcoming NFL draft. With the 15th overall pick, Atlanta is in an interesting position. Should they stay put and take the best edge rusher available, or should they look to trade up and gain more draft capital? Recently, there have been discussions about two teams that could be potential trade partners, the Denver Broncos and the Los Angeles Chargers. The Broncos currently hold the 20th pick, and there are two main reasons they might want to move up. First, head coach Sean Payton has a history of making aggressive trades during the draft from his time in New Orleans, so it wouldn't be surprising to see him try to climb the board. Second, the Broncos need a running back. If they believe that Omari Hampton, the second-best running back in this draft class, won't be available by the 20th pick, they might be motivated to jump ahead of other teams that could be interested in him. On the other hand, the Chargers are sitting at the 15th pick and have their own reason to trade up. New head coach Jim Harbaugh may want to reunite with his former Michigan tight end, Colston Loveland. If the Chargers think the Broncos might be eyeing Loveland at the 20th pick, they could try to trade up to Atlanta to secure him. But the real question for the Falcons isn't just about trading down. It's about what they should do with their first-round selection. Should they take the best player available, or should they draft based on positional needs? The common belief is that Atlanta desperately needs an edge rusher, and this draft is loaded with talent at that position. The smart move might be to take the best pass rusher on the board instead of overthinking the pick. Terry Fontenot, the Falcons' general manager, is under pressure to make the right choice. In past years, Atlanta has had a tendency to make surprising selections, like Michael Penix Jr. last year, which shocked everyone. This time, it should be simple. There's a clear need for an edge rusher, and there will be elite talent available at the 15th pick. There's no need to overcomplicate things. Just take the best available pass rusher and move on. Now, let's talk about a wild three-team trade idea that was recently suggested. The proposal is that the Falcons would trade for Trey Hendrickson from the Bengals, the Giants would get Kirk Cousins, and the Bengals would receive a third-round pick from New York and a fifth-round pick from Atlanta. On paper, this looks like a fantastic deal for the Falcons. Hendrickson is one of the best pass rushers in the league, and Atlanta would only be giving up late-round picks to get him. However, the problem is that the Bengals are unlikely to accept such a low return for a player who has posted back-to-back seasons with 17.5 sacks. If this trade were to happen, Atlanta would almost certainly have to give up more. Now, let's discuss the Micah Parsons situation. There's been a lot of talk about whether the Dallas Cowboys would consider trading their star edge rusher instead of paying him what could be a record-breaking contract. But is there any truth to these trade rumors? The short answer is no. While it's true that Parsons wants to become the highest-paid non-quarterback in NFL history, and that Dallas has been slow to negotiate with him, there's no solid evidence that the Cowboys are actively shopping him. However, if Dallas decides they don't want to pay Parsons $42 million per year, Atlanta should be at the front of the line to make a deal. Moving back to the draft, another interesting question is whether Atlanta could target a cornerback instead of an edge rusher at the 15th pick. One name that has come up is Will Johnson, a highly talented cornerback from Michigan. While drafting a cornerback over an edge rusher might not be the most popular move, it could make sense. If the Falcons believe they can find an elite pass rusher in the second round, there are some strong options that could still be available, like Jack Sawyer or Landon Jackson. However, the concern is simple. Fans won't be happy if Atlanta spends another first-round pick on a defensive back while the pass rush remains a major issue. Speaking of trade rumors, what's the latest on Travon Walker? There was some online speculation that Jacksonville's new GM might be open to moving the former first overall pick, but there hasn't been anything concrete to suggest a deal is actually in the works. Walter Football initially floated the idea, but there's no indication that Jacksonville is actively looking to trade Walker. That said, he has quietly put up 2 straight seasons with 10 or more sacks, and if he were available, Atlanta should at least make a call. So, where does that leave the Falcons heading into the draft? They have a few key decisions to make. Do they stay at 15 and take the best pass rusher, or do they trade down for more picks? If they trade down, which realistic teams could move up? Should they consider drafting a quarterback instead of a pass rusher in the first round? Is there any possible way to land a star pass rusher via trade, whether it's Parsons, Hendrickson, or Walker? This offseason is shaping up to be one of the most important in recent Falcons history. If Atlanta makes the right moves, they could position themselves to dominate the NFC South, but if they miss, they could be looking at another frustrating year. Now it's your turn, Falcons fans. What's the best move for Atlanta? Should they stay at 15 or trade down? Should they target a pass rusher, or is there another position they should focus on? And if Parsons, Hendrickson, or Walker were available, would you make a move to get one of them? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about this because this draft could define the future of the franchise. The Falcons are showing real interest in offensive lineman Charles Grant from William & Mary. Falcons offensive line coach Dwayne Ledford personally attended his pro day, which is a strong sign that Atlanta sees something special in him. Grant is a 6 feet 5 inches, 311-pound left tackle with nearly 35-inch arms. He started 36 straight games in college and allowed just 2 sacks in 3 seasons. That kind of dominance is hard to ignore, especially when protecting a young quarterback like Michael Penix Jr. One of Grant's biggest strengths is his versatility. While he played left tackle in college, some scouts believe he could shift inside to guard or center, making him even more valuable for a team that just lost center Drew Dalman in free agency. Grant's quickness and ability to get to the second level make him a great fit for Atlanta's zone blocking scheme. However, he needs to refine his technique, especially when anchoring against power rushers. Off the field, Grant is just as impressive. He has been recognized for his leadership and community service, earning multiple academic and humanitarian awards. He's the kind of player who fits the culture Atlanta is trying to build. So, where does he fit with the Falcons? They have solid starters at most offensive line positions, but right tackle Caleb McGarry is entering a contract year, and center remains a question mark. If Atlanta drafts Grant, he would likely spend a year developing before stepping into a starting role. The challenge is that he's projected as a day 2 pick, and the Falcons have 2 selections in the top 46, but don't pick again until number 118. If they want him, they'll have to decide if depth on the offensive line is worth more than filling immediate defensive needs. Now I want to hear from you, Falcons fans. Should Atlanta take a shot on Grant, or should they prioritize defense? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more Falcons news. See you in the next one.